There are over 1,696 players in the NFL, and we at Brothers Talk Ball respect everything they do to make the game what it is today. Nothing said here is a personal attack on anyone in the league, but we are fantasy football owners, and for far too long we have remained silent. It's time for us to share our voice. It's time for us to have a say. It's time for Brothers Talk Ball. Yeah, I know. It feels good. I know. It feels good. We're back. I mean, we waited, and now we're here. Football's back. But here's the question I have to ask you. Did you go and look back at the episodes that I did in the preseason to get you started for this season? I mean, I know you're out there, and I know you played in your fantasy leagues this week, and I know, hey, because I count on you to listen to me every week, and I know you're going to be good, but I'm counting on you to really listen to me. I just have a question for you. Are you 1-0 this week because you listened to me, or are you 0-1 because you decided to go on your own? No, I'm going to give you a second to think about that. All you people out there that are 0-1, I want you to sit down right now and ask yourself why you're not here at Brothers Talk Ball trying to be the champion that I know you are. Because let's just face it, I'm not here for me. You think I don't have better things to do? Do you actually know what time it is? It's actually time, and almost time, for the waiver wire to start. So you know what happens when the waiver wire starts? I mean, you got to be up early. And if you didn't know that, maybe that's why you should be here at Brothers Talk Ball. What is the waiver wire starting? I mean, what does that mean? I don't know. If you want to be sleeping right now, I mean, seriously, who am I to say anything? Go to sleep. Really, go to sleep. Because you know what? Your competitor is up right now. Maybe he's having a cup of coffee, or she's having a cup of coffee. Because as we said before, all the hot girls play fantasy football. So maybe she's up right now, or maybe they're up right now, and they're just waiting for the West Coast to do whatever it is they do, so the waiver wire opens. What is the waiver wire? Well, the waiver wire is when players go, and you can get them without doing this. And real fantasy football owners get up or stay up late, adjust their rosters, then they go to bed. We'll go over that as the season goes. Now, welcome. This is Brothers Talk Ball, and we are back, and the NFL season is back, and I'm happy, and I know you're happy, and I know we're all happy. So let's just go over right now the week. So this is what we're going to do every week during fantasy football. We're going to go over the week that was, and then we're going to go over the week that is coming. So we'll go over the choices that you went over, we'll go over the picks that you made, we'll go over things that you maybe should look at, and we're going to go over what happened this week. So as always, we're going to start with America's favorite, the quarterback. Okay, now for some of you, quarterback may be your favorite position in fantasy football because you may want to get the hot one. If you're watching our old episodes, like I said, not a lot of parity in the league when it comes to the quarterbacks because, like I said, there's a handful, but if you look at how week one started with quarterbacks, wow, there are a lot of names out there that I didn't know were going to be there at this time, but they're out there. So let's take a look at the number one quarterback in fantasy football for this week. It ain't easy, being Drew Brees. Now, I don't want to say who said his name at the beginning of the season, and I don't want to say who maybe actually drafted him on their fantasy football team. I wouldn't know anybody like that. I really wouldn't. I wouldn't know. But who do I know? Drew Brees went for over 400 yards this week. Great start of the season for Drew Brees. And as I thought would happen with the Saints, their defense, a little suspect, so he's going to have to stay on the field a lot, and he's going to have to throw that ball a lot. Now, if you had his receivers out there, Cooks and Snead, hey, what a week you had. And if you drafted one of them along with Drew Brees, maybe that's why you're a guru. But listen, Drew Brees, great season. Great start to the season, and that's what he does every year. I mean, you can count on him to do that every year in fantasy football because let's just face it, that's what Drew Brees does. Next, Andrew Luck, and I knew this going into the season. Andrew Luck, another one. I mean, the only thing you got to worry about with Andrew Luck is how long his health is going to last for because let's keep it real for half a minute and 30 seconds. Ooh, his offensive line, ooh, I'm a little scared. I'm not going to lie to you. I'm a little scared this year for Andrew Luck because that O-line, but he's going to throw that ball around a lot because his defense, suspect too. So watch for him to have a good season. Andy Dalton, funny enough. Andy Dalton, now let's not get it twisted. This could be his breakthrough year. I mean, the year he really gets through. The Cincinnati Bengals, they want to break through there. But he's going to connect with A.J. Green all year, and if you have him on his team and he's still out there, because listen, in a lot of fantasy leagues, he's still available. Now listen, let me start off by saying this because I said it once before and I think I have to say it again. For those of you out there pressing the panic button, please don't do that. Please don't press the panic button. Because I told you once before and I really, really have to tell you again. It's only the beginning of the season. And things are going to happen at the beginning of the season that are going to make you want to press that panic button, but you cannot do it after week 1. They're still taking time to mold their offenses. The defense is still shaping up. We don't know what's going on with a lot of teams yet, and I'm going to show you a lot of things that if you press the panic button now, you're really, really, really not going to make sense. But I really don't want you to press the panic button. Please, just stick with me. I'm going to get you there. All right? Okay. Next we have Alex Smith in Kansas City. Kansas City had a comeback game, where they had to come back a lot. They were down. And like I told you in the preseason, when you have a football team that's not as good and you know is going to be training a lot during the season, you might really, really want to super invest in one of their quarterbacks because you're going to have to put that ball up a lot. With Alex Smith, he actually uses his backs a lot in his passing game. So he's going to throw that ball around a whole lot. So I'm not saying that Alex Smith is going to have a week like this all year, every year. Every week, all year. But for him, that was a good week. The same thing with this surprise. Who saw this coming? Matthew Stafford. Now, we all know Matthew Stafford is a gunslinger, and he has the potential to go over 300 yards every week. And just for the record, I want you to know that everybody that I'm going to mention right now in the top tier, whenever I mention the top tiers of quarterbacks during the week over the year, I'm going to mention the 300 club. Because that's what you kind of want your quarterback to live in. You kind of want him to live in the 300 club. So when I mention the 300 club, these are the quarterbacks that I'm talking about. Now, coming right beside Matthew Stafford is a quarterback that has the potential of doing this all year too. You got to really, really watch him. He knows what he's doing. And the man's name, Matt Ryan. Now, Matt Ryan is one of those quarterbacks too that's going to have those 300-yard games. Usually on average, because he does like to throw the ball. They try to be run heavy to protect him doing what he needs to do. But for the most part, he'll throw that ball around. Kirk Cousins, picking up from what he did last season, doing what he does. Again, another 300. Blake Bortles. Now, Blake Bortles, I think you got to watch this guy, man. I said it before, I'm going to say it again. I think Jacksonville, no matter how slow their starts gets off to, they usually start off slow. I think they're going to have a good season this year, and I think Blake Bortles is going to be a big part of it. The same with the man next to him, who is David Carr. Look, the Raiders, real character game this week, came from behind. I told my little brother, who called me halfway through the game, cursing me out for telling him how bad the Raiders were this year. And I just want to send a shout out to him. Little brother, like you should have been doing your whole life, please do us both a favor and just listen to me. Why? Because I love you. I really do. I'm not going to lie to you. I really do. But by the end of the game, he was like, okay, maybe you're right. My Raiders are back. And I really think Derek Carr is going to have a really, really, really breakout season. And I think they're going to do really, really, really well this year. And again, perennial starter, another great start to the season. Ben Roethlisberger, another one, over 300 yards. Quarterback you may want to watch out for because I watched him this week and I love the things he was doing. Listen, he's still out there in a lot of leagues, so you may want to go grab him off the waiver wire because in some leagues he's still available. Jameis Winston. I told you in the preseason, he was working out in the offseason, trying to get into shape for the season. He didn't want to take it anymore. And listen, like I said, I think he's going to have a breakthrough season this year. Now, Carson Wentz, a big surprise. I'm not going to lie to you. You all know how I feel about Philly, and there's no secrets about how I feel about Philly. Let's not get it twisted. But really impressed with how he started. He looked composed. He looked in control. Really liked the way he distributed the ball, got the ball around. So right now, I'm not going to go to sleep on Carson Wentz. not by any stretch of the imagination. Now, the rest of the quarterbacks are in your 2 to 100 category, like 200 yards, maybe we're talking about 271 to 200. So really, why waste my time talking about them? Only because of this. I'm going to tell you something right now. Carson Palmer, Joe Flacco, Russell Wilson, and surprisingly enough, Cam Newton and Aaron Rodgers were at the bottom of this week in terms of their yards. But listen, like I said, and you really have to listen to me when I say this, it's only the first week of the season. Let's calm down, kids. All right? Let's just relax, breathe. It's a long year, and weeks like this are going to happen, especially at the beginning, and funny enough, near the tail end of the season, especially for teams that know where they're going into the playoffs. But later on in the year, I'm going to discuss that with you, because that's very important for you to know about fantasy football. The beginning of the season and the end of the season can make or break your whole year in fantasy. So you really have to be mindful of the things that you do at this part of the year. But if you think for a second that Aaron Rodgers and Cam Newton are only going to stay at the 170 mark for yards during the season, then listen to me very carefully, because I want to say this slowly so you can really understand me. There's nothing I can do with you, okay? Because obviously there's no help for you. So if you don't want to listen to me, don't. That's why you might be 0-1. Okay? And I don't want you 0-1. But maybe you're 0-1 because you don't want to listen to your boy. So if you're going to listen to your boy, listen to your boy. Do not press the panic button yet. Like I said, it's only week 1. Now, these are the quarterbacks coming up right now. We're going to go right into the running back position, because running backs, oddly enough, for the first time in a long time, not too impressed with the numbers I've seen with running backs so far this year. This was a horrible week at running back, and I'll tell you why in 2 seconds. So let me just do a little magic, and we'll be right back to talk about running backs. And here we go. Now let's get right to it. Running backs for the week. If you're in Pittsburgh, you're loving life, because D'Angelo Williams was the highest running back in yards this week with about 143. Listen, he might be quietly the best kept secret in football, because when he's in the game, the Steelers don't really lose that much than when Bell is not in there. But for what they picked him up for, and for what he's doing with that team, I love D'Angelo Williams as a second back. And you know what? For those who want to get rid of him when Bell comes back after his 4-game suspension, I wouldn't do that. Like I would keep him as close to you as possible, because here's the thing. It's going to take Bell a couple of weeks to get back into shape, get back into the groove, get back into the zone. And I think they're going to play him in short yardage positions. He's going to give you some touchdowns this year. So you might want to keep him. Now, right after him, Lamar Miller. Like, Lamar Miller is one of those running backs that I was telling you that is a single back on his team. He's not really sharing the ball, and he's the focused back on his team. The same thing I was telling you with Matt Forte. Now, when I was telling you about the Jets, what did I say about the Jets? The Jets are like this. The Jets are a 3-headed beast. You got Decker, you got Marshall, and now you have Forte, who's going to open up for a lot of those guys. But as you can see, him running for 93, they are going to give him the ball. Now, when I was telling you earlier about the running backs and not being too impressed about them, only 2 running backs, who were Miller and Williams, got over 100 yards this week. And that's kind of odd. It's kind of odd. I haven't seen a week like that. But listen, like I said before, no need to press the panic button. And that sometimes happens at the beginning of the season. Trust me when I say, do not get used to it. It's not going to stay that way. C.J. Anderson. Now, I may have talked quick. Here I'm not even taking my own advice. But Denver really impressed me this week. Really impressed me. And what did they do? They went to ball control. I said they were going to do that to take that out of the quarterback's hands. But they did let him throw the ball a bit. But C.J. Anderson was a big part of why they won this week. And a real reason why, if you have him on your squad, you really might want to keep him. David Johnson. Now, David Johnson is that running back that I think is in that balanced offense. But he did run for, what did he run for? 489, and that's respectable. That's respectable on a team that's gonna share the ball. So I'm not too mad at that. I'm really not gonna get too angry with that, man. Danny Woodhead, surprisingly. Danny Woodhead is surprisingly over Melvin Gordon. Although Melvin Gordon is the future back, which shows you that they look to be sharing the ball over there in with the Chargers. So if you have Melvin Gordon, I'm not going to say don't panic, but I don't know what they're really doing over there, so don't know what to tell you. Now we come to Carlos Hyde. There's going to be times this year when I talk about the San Francisco 49ers and I bring up a name. That name, to Brother Stockball, is a brother I know that actually lives in Dallas, who I got to hear every week for no reason at all, and he absolutely hurts my feelings just listening to his voice. Because he has issues, as some of us do, but I've been trying to be his life coach and help him for a lot of years in his life. Here's the thing. Brother has a problem listening. That's why I want him to watch the show. His name is Calvin. Calvin, shout out to you. Give yourself a hug, and I really do mean it. Give yourself a hug every day, all day, every day, because you really do need help. Okay. So Carlos Hyde, I think after watching him, you can expect a big season from him. Chip Kelly, the master coach in the NFL, eked out a win this week. He's going to play that balanced offensive game where he's doing everything. But listen, I'm not going to go on about Frisco. It really is a waste of our time. Now, this is a surprise, but the backup, Jalen Richard, in Oakland, who, by the way, had a great week this week. Great win, great comeback win, showed a lot of character. He actually had more yards than Murray, which is kind of surprising, but you know, I think they're going to share the ball over there. They're going to spread that offense. They're going to do those things. So he had a really, not a bad week. Ryan Matthews, obviously, Philly's going to do more of a balanced attack. He had a good week. Rashad Jennings, let's not talk about Rashad Jennings. And the fact that, let's just say, my Cowboys are 0-1. But I'm not here to talk about my Cowboys. If I want to do a separate show about my Cowboys, I'll do a separate show about my Cowboys at some point during the season probably. And I'll save everything I need to say for my Cowboys there because I don't want anybody looking at the show saying, I'm Cowboys heavy. Special shout out to Dak Prescott. Keep your head up, baby. We're going to have a good year. Hang in there, my brother. We're not going to go on about the Cowboys, okay? Back I really want you to take a look at, man, for the next couple of weeks is Spencer Ware over there in Kansas City. Your man's a beast. On the ground, he had 7 yards, but I think he had a total of 140-something receiving yards. Like, he went crazy this week. And I think he's going to be a big part of their offense this year, especially with Jamal Charles not knowing if he's going to get injured or not. He's one of those boys you really want to take a look at. And rounding it out, Amir Abdullah, really watch him, even though they're sharing the ball in Detroit, like what he does. Jonathan Stewart, Doug Martin, Eddie Lacy, Frank Gore, Mark Ingram. Now, those names that I just mentioned, I want you to understand something about those names. Those names are not going to be at the bottom of the pack each week. So if you have one of those running backs, like I always try to stress to you, please do me a favor. Do not press the panic button. Do not go crazy. Do not drive yourself mad and do not drive yourself mental. They are going to pick it up as the season goes along. Trust me. Just believe in what I say. Do not worry about it. Your boy is here. This is why I'm here for you. Now, I'm going to work again a little magic, do my thing just a little bit, and then we're going to come back and talk about everybody's favorite in the league and one everybody has to talk about, and that's wide receivers, because wide receivers went crazy this week. And they're going to be going crazy all year. And there's some names that I mentioned that are out there that I mentioned at the beginning of the year because I'm a guru. And there's some names that actually surprised me. So let me work a little magic and we'll be right back here at Brothers Talk Ball with wide receivers. And now we're talking wide receivers. Wow, there were some numbers this week, especially for the first week of the season, and I was terribly impressed. Let's start with number one. AJ Green. Woo! Look at the box. The box is saying AJ Green. $180. Hold on, let me see if that's right. $180. Hold up. Willie Snead. $172. Hold up, because I'm still feeling it. Brandon Cooks. On the same team, by the way. $143. One more time to give you the anomaly in the pack to show you what kind of week he had. Spencer Ware, the running back. Buck 29, Antonio Brown, Josh Matthews, Fuller, Alshon Jeffrey, Diggs, Deshaun Jackson, Mike Evans. Hold up, man. I gotta calm down a little bit, man. Whoo! Whoo! Brothers, we're going off this week. Going off. And I love it. And I love it. Listen, I think, okay, just by the way, that I mentioned his name, Stephon Diggs, he's still out there in most leagues. Listen, if you want to sleep all year and sleep your life away and let everybody grab everything while you're in bed not doing your job, then do that. But I'm here to help you. Get up before your waiver wire opens, right? Get on the box. Get the fingers ready. Pow, pow, pow. Click, click, click. Do you smile, then go to sleep and dream of rainbows. You know what? That's what I do. And that's how I do it. But I'm just a guru. What do I know? But real talk, he's up there in most leagues, and I think he's going to have a good season this year. The numbers that I saw from wide receivers this year this week was insane, especially for week one, which shows you what? In the first couple of weeks, defenses still don't have an idea, an identity of what they are. So you're going to have those games where your wide receivers go crazy. Now, you really, for those of you that do have Antonio Brown, because in most fantasy leagues, he was projected as number one. So for those of you who were smart enough to take him, I think him going for over $120 is going to show you that he's still the man in the game. I saw a bit of it this week with the Giants, and I still, for those of you that have Odell Beckham, I'm saying I don't know if he's going to have that monster season. Obviously, I watched the Giants game, and I saw them dish the ball around a lot, and I seen them spread that ball. That new rookie they got, Shepard, and it looks like well, when you see Julio Cruz go on me, how you doing, baby? Huh? Not against Mike, I wasn't like that. But when you see Victor Cruz back doing what he does, what you telling me? That ball's going to go around with the Giants. Now, Mike Evans, another one, perennial starter. Doug Baldwin, another receiver I think you got to look out for, man. Yeah, your boy is back with Carolina. Benjamin just looked. Ooh, I really like that brother. That brother was doing what he had to do well. Good to see Deshaun Jackson back. Obviously talking less, playing more. Love the way that sounds. Marvin Jones had a great week. The perennial classic, Larry Fitzgerald was doing it. Great super week for wide receivers. Really low grade this week for running backs. Quarterbacks, some big numbers out there. And what does that mean? That means that's week one. Week one's over. Week one's done. It's in the books. It's in the can. I hope you had a good week one. And listen, if you really are 0-1, you really need to be here every week on Brothers Talk Ball. This is a recap of what was happening for this week in ball. Join us later on in the week because I'm going to send you out getting ready for the weekend, getting ready for Sunday, getting ready for Thursday, hopefully, and let you know who you should be taking. Now, if I do get the show out, and sometimes I don't get it out before Thursday, that's only because of a time thing and scheduling. But I'm going to hope to try to get the show out before Thursday, just to get your week started because I don't want to let you down. But come join us every week because we're going to be here for you. Please don't forget to subscribe. Don't forget to like us. Tell a friend. We are here for you. And join us on all the social media that you want. I am your boy, as always, Darryl, your fantasy football guru. This has been week one of the National Football League. We're going to be here all year, all day, same time, same station. Come join us on Brothers Talk Ball. And there ain't nothing but love for you. And we'll see you next week.